Well, it's my pleasure now to introduce Abdulaziz Al-Judaimi, who is the business line head of Downstream at Saudi Aramco. Previous to this, Mr. Al-Judaimi held a number of executive and commercial positions in Aramco's upstream and midstream businesses, and also currently serves as chairman of the board of the Petro Rabigh company. Please welcome him to the stage. Thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Let me first add my thanks to His Excellency Dr. Sultan Al-Jaber, Minister of State and CEO of ADNOC, for joining us today. Also, let me convey a message from our CEO, Mr. Amin Al-Nasser, who considers GPCA the forum to discuss waves of changes our region chemical industry faces, and is also sorry that he couldn't deliver his keynote in person. I'm also honored to be here today on his behalf, particularly because of the long history I share with GPCA and with this renowned organization. We're lucky to have GPCA help with the networking, thought leadership, and advocacy that the membership has afforded. And I think this is shown most clearly in the five-fold increase in the membership that we have seen in the past decade. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to address today three main topics. I want to take a broad look at some of the changing business currents and the recent decades. I want also to briefly consider the economic drivers of change in our region today, and I want to share why I see the region's chemical industry playing a pivotal role in making those changes a reality over the long term. So let me discuss first topic, what's happening in the global business past and future. I'll begin by looking at the changing nature of the business over the past 3 decades. During that time, global corporate earnings have grown more than threefold to over $7 trillion. Yet, between them, companies from advanced economies in North America, Western Europe, Japan, South Korea, and a few others have captured more than 2/3 of the global profits. China by itself accounts for 14% and rising. Innovation, technology, and competitiveness are the roof for their success. By contrast, gaps in these areas explain why developing countries lag some distance behind. Furthermore, while technological imitation might work in the short term, long term, success will remain elusive without novel innovation. The only way to sustain competitiveness and growth, which is the theme of this conference, is to continue developing more differentiated, higher value products, consider creating strong brand identities, and continue upgrading to stay ahead of the curve. Because profits are shifting to idea-intensive that revolve around R&D, digitization, the use of big data, the Internet of Things, knowledge content, and brand, while capital-intensive companies face growing pressures. On the positive side, when it comes to the customer base, the next decade will see an additional 2 billion people added to the pool. This lesson for our region is clear. Companies that adapt quickly to these new realities can capture enormous opportunities. So let's now move to the second topic and further understand the impact of regional economic drivers of change. We are beginning to see this play out very clearly in terms of the region's changing economic policies. For more than 80 years, our preeminence in the global upstream has been the bedrock in our strength, and it has allowed us to become a global petrochemical player. But we also are at the development point where we cannot continue to depend on a single economic engine. Instead, the development of the non-oil private sector, including the chemical industry, has become a strategic necessity for the region. And in Saudi Arabia, we have formalized this with our Vision 2030. So, as we discuss the two topics, global business and driver of change, let's now talk about the third topic. What's the pivotal role of chemical industry in creating a thriving future? To some, there are fast-moving currents that are overwhelming, challenging to cope with. To me, they are the green lights for our industry to shift gears rapidly by applying the lessons of innovation, technology, and competitiveness. But what should our strategy be? Clearly, there will continue to be opportunities to invest in a large-scale integrated base petrochemical project underpinned by the advantage feedstock, which have defined the development of our region's chemical industry. But when just 2.5% of the global petrochemical industry revenue is made here, and less than 1% of the industry workforce is employed here, that is neither good nor sustainable. To change the situation at pace, I believe we must target our collective efforts in 4 key areas. First, we need to be better balanced and integrate our upstream and downstream businesses. As our CEO said on the World Energy Congress in Istanbul last month, Saudi Aramco plans to invest more than $300 billion over the coming decade. This will reinforce our preeminent position in oil, maintain our spare oil production capacity, and allow us to pursue a large exploration and production program centering on conventional and unconventional gas resources. But with our crude production capacity at 12 million barrels per day, we have also grown our chemical refining capacity, our global refining capacity to more than 5 million barrels per day now, and plan to raise it to 8 to 10 million barrels per day before 2030. And in chemicals, our equity capacity across our global operation is expected to grow from 12 million tons per day to 34 million tons per day at the same period. Altering the equation in this way calls for maximizing the value of Saudi Arabia's hydrocarbon production, including vertical and horizontal integration across the value chain. A base level integration can be achieved by adding value through shared infrastructure, utilities, services, without compromising the operation of either side. High levels of integration can be achieved with stream transfers, capital improvements that benefit both refiners and chemical, and overall site optimization of the operation. Next year, 9 out of Saudi Aramco's 15 refineries will produce chemicals with conversion rate that can go to 20% of the total crude process. And of course, done right, integration triggers multiplier effects in jobs and industries. By integrating our domestic and international refining network with chemical production, we enabled manufacturing hubs and conversion parks connected to our plants, which is an important driver of the enormous value being created by the North American and European chemical industries. Our Blastec Park at Petrorabal on the west coast of Saudi Arabia and the Blaskem Park at Sadara on the east are example of our own convergence strategy in action. The second area, we will need to far greater expansion into differentiated product, including differentiated commodities and specialties. As you all know, commodity margins are volatile and driven by conditions of supply-demand and capacity utilization. Production differentiation, by contrast, brings added value to higher degree of margin stability. In fact, that kind of potential was the vision for Sadara. As the source of an entirely new product slate to the region, Sadara will launch new industries, including water treatment, chemicals, automotive parts, personal care products, and detergents. We also see growth prospects with our joint venture, Arlanxio, our joint venture with Lanxess of Germany. Its high-performance synthetic rubber and elastomer products have applications beyond the automotive industry and tire industry, including construction of oil and gas. And the third area is the knowledge-based innovation to stimulate new technologies and processes, leading to new products and industries. Is clearly a mission critical, as I highlighted earlier. As the GPCA Innovation Survey last year, the region's major petrochemical and chemical producers are thankfully putting innovation and technology at the top of their agendas at last. Certainly, some of Saudi Aramco's most significant recent achievements have been the domestic downstream partnership aimed at value creation through innovation. For example, this summer, SABIC and Saudi Aramco signed a commitment to study the conversion of crude oil directly to high-value petrochemicals. This is precisely the kind of technology that would leverage the region's vast oil base, maximizing chemical yield, transforming and recycling byproducts, and diversifying the kingdom's petrochemical feedstock mix. We are hugely excited by it. Elsewhere, we recently acquired the Converge polyols technologies from the US-based company Novmer. This breakthrough technology uses waste carbon dioxide and carbon as a feedstock to manufacture valuable polymers, marrying improved product quality and lower costs with environmental benefits. We are also driving innovation through our corporate venture subsidiary, Saudi Aramco Energy Venture, which invests in high-end startups here and abroad with the technologies of value to us. And finally, none of this will work without a highly skilled workforce. We need to focus our attention on the region's skills base and leverage the demographic advantage that a wide talent of pool of youth has blessed us with. This is in turn will require a broad mobilization to build the technical and managerial capabilities to develop the workforce of the future. This underlines the importance of quality education and training at all stages, and the importance of partnership between the government, industry, and academia. Because there is no better investment we can make in the future of our countries than developing the minds of our young men and women. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, our industry faces towering waves of change, but we can also create immense waves of opportunity to achieve greater competitiveness and open new paths to grow our global market share. So let's integrate and enhance the value chain. Let's expand into differentiated commodities and specialty chemicals. Let us prioritize innovation and technology through partnership, and let's build the workforce that makes our nations to be in the next level. Thank you, and I wish a productive conference.